Good morning, everyone. Treasure Troller here from the partially mask-wearing militant state of Michigan, where we had more FBI agents and paid informants than we did actual conspirators in the plot to kidnap our governor and dictator, Gretchen Whitmer, two of which are being retried. And we also have a Secretary of State who believes Donald Trump wanted her arrested and brought up on treason charges. This, she heard from a friend, who heard from a friend, who heard from another who was an unnamed, anonymous, reliable source. So today, I had an epiphany this morning. So it's not extremely well thought out, but it's good. How could a Democrat win the presidential election in 2024? And now I came up with this from the last vlog I did about Pete Buttigieg moving to Michigan, or making Michigan his residency so they could pawn the kids off on free daycare with the grandparents. So I'm going to use Pete Buttigieg as an example, but I'm not necessarily saying that it's him. I'm only using him as an example. So I want you to comment if you think I'm right or wrong, or your ideas, but don't say Pete Buttigieg doesn't stand a chance, because this isn't necessarily about Pete Buttigieg. It's just the prototype of the individual. So there isn't anyone right now in the Democratic Party that's a viable candidate. Mostly because they're seen as agreeing with the dementia in chief. So you have to disassociate yourself. You certainly cannot be someone holding political office right now in any way, shape, or form. You would have to leave your office. But someone who's like a cabinet member like Pete Buttigieg has a better opportunity. They would have to step down from their job. They'd have to disassociate with the administration. Okay? No longer be part of the administration. And for Pete, like I said, I don't want to use him as the example, but he hasn't been great. He really hasn't been effective. But it's nothing that, in a sense, 2 years off people wouldn't start forgetting. Not a lot of controversy. He's not repeat sentence and stumbling down up and down airplane steps, and calling people from San Antonio breakfast tacos. So there is a little bit of a chance. But anyways, he would have to step down from his cabinet office. And then here's the big one. After about maybe even after the midterm elections, you have to announce that you're running, but you're going to have to start talking about how you saw things in the administration that just weren't really for the people, that was against some of, the trying to move to green economy quicker than we could possibly do it. You're going to have to talk about, of course, he would have a hard time with, food costs, because he was part of the transportation, but he's the only person I can think of right now. So, but like I said, don't use him as the example. But they'd have to disassociate themselves, and they'd really have to come out, and they would have to talk against the Biden administration. They would have to disassociate and start talking about doing things different than the Biden administration. Talking more like, I guess you could call them a moderate Democrat. I mean, Biden's poll numbers, I mean, they're bad, they're horrendous, but he's still, even at 25%, the Democrat candidate is going to get that 25%. There's just people that are going to vote Democrat no matter what. And if you want to say there's a small portion of that that's, the far left, fine. That makes up maybe 2 or 3%. So you already have a quarter of the voters, the Democratic voters anyways. And if you start taking a more moderate line, I bet you would be at 40, that candidate would be at 40% after they announced they were running. They came out with a speech talking about, being a little bit more accommodating towards the American people, opening up the pipelines and whatnot, getting the flow of energy going. I think they would be at 40% immediately. So I'm not convinced that it's a walk. So we're going in to get a Diet Pepsi or a Diet Coke. McDonald's has Coke. So that's it. If you have an opinion on it, I'd love to hear it. But like I said, just don't say I'm wrong because Pete Buttigieg, no one would vote for him. I'm not talking about Pete and, specifically. I'm talking in generalities with what it would take for a Democrat to win the 2024 presidential election. With that, this is Treasure Troller saying aloha, good day, and large Diet Coke.